You know what? I'm bored. Let's try something different. Instead of talking about something delicious, I'm going to talk about one of the tools of the trade in baking. The enslavement and subjugation of fire! I'm talking about ovens. The first oven in human history was the earthen oven. This kind of oven is as simple as it gets. It's basically a hole in the ground. Then you put something hot at the bottom, usually rocks or ashes or hot coals. Cover those with a little bit of dirt, then you put whatever you're baking on top of that. The final step is to cover it all with a whole bunch more dirt, and then just wait for the magic to happen. The first known instance of this oven is in an archaeological dig site in Central Europe and is dated back to 29,000 BC. I really like this discovery because in it they found mammoth meat. If you want to be technical, the next oven would be the ceramic oven. These ovens are generally not used for baking because it's really difficult to keep such a relatively low temperature stable. On the other hand, the pottery students at UAS have a tradition of baking a turkey in their kiln every Thanksgiving, so take from that what you will. The next oven on the list is the masonry oven. It's basically a direct upgrade from the earth oven. Instead of using dirt, it has a chamber made of rocks, brick, or stone, which grants a couple of distinct advantages. First, it can keep heat from a single fire to bake stuff for several hours, and second, it can have a door, which allows you to access the stuff inside without releasing too much heat. These ovens showed up sometime during early Roman history, so before the Empire. We don't see the next type of oven until a couple thousand years later. Gas ovens rely on a steady source of flammable gas to cook at a very even temperature for long periods of time. The gas itself is lit by what is known as a pilot light, which is usually a very small flame or an electrical spark. A malfunctioning pilot light can be disastrous because the gas will keep leaking into the house until it finds another ignition point, causing an explosion. One of the strange things about gas ovens is that even though gas stoves showed up in the early 1800s, the gas oven itself didn't show up until about 100 years later. The early 1900s is when the electric oven also started showing up. This idea was quickly trashed because it's very inefficient to heat up a large volume for a long period of time with electricity. Leaving the electric oven to its grave, this is the time where we discover the magic of radiation. The microwave oven was a completely different way of heating up things. It does this by bombarding the food with microwave radiation. Fortunately, microwaves are non-ionizing, which means your food doesn't become radioactive. Unfortunately, it doesn't go to a high enough heat to cause the Maillard reaction, so it's unsuitable for many types of baking that require that browning effect. The heating properties of microwaves were discovered accidentally in 1945 by Percy Spencer while he was working on radios. Rest in peace to the chocolate bar in his pocket that led to his discovery. The final oven I have for you today is the halogen oven. I actually know very little about these ovens and haven't had a chance to bake with them. I do know that they use infrared radiation to heat their contents, and the earliest patent for them was in 1989. Also, the Children's Easy Bake Oven switched to using these in 2007. There's another way to classify ovens. You can split them up between conventional and convection. With a conventional oven, you put the fire near the food and let the heat meander on over on its own terms. With a convection oven, you separate them and then heat up hot air and blow it all over the food using a fan. This results in a much more even temperature spread. That's all I got. Have a great night, everyone.